Have you ever felt like you were born already tired? Like somewhere between childhood and now, you skipped being young entirely and went straight to being responsible for everything and everyone. If you've ever felt guilty for resting, anxious when accepting help, or like you're constantly performing a version of yourself that isn't quite real, this video will explain why. Because growing up too fast doesn't just steal your childhood, it rewires how you see yourself, how you love, and how you move through the world as an adult. This isn't about nostalgia or missing out on toys. It's about something much deeper: identity formation under pressure. When a child is forced to become emotionally or physically responsible before they're ready, it creates a psychological blueprint that follows them into adulthood. They become hyper-independent, emotionally guarded, and struggle with a core question: who am I when I'm not taking care of someone else? In this video, you'll discover the hidden psychology behind early maturity, why it shows up the way it does, and most importantly, how to begin healing from it. In psychology, this experience is often called parentification. It happens when a child is placed in a role that reverses the natural parent-child dynamic. Instead of being cared for, they become the caregiver, emotionally, physically, or both. This isn't a one-time event. It's a persistent atmosphere where the child learns that their worth depends on how much they can carry, how quietly they can suffer, and how well they can anticipate the needs of others. Research suggests that anywhere from 3% to over 30% of young people experience some form of parentification, depending on family structure, socioeconomic factors, and trauma exposure. And the effects? They don't disappear when childhood ends. They shape adult identity in profound, often invisible ways. So why does this happen? What forces a child to grow up too fast? First, role reversal in the family system. This occurs when a parent, whether consciously or unconsciously, assigns their responsibilities to the child. Maybe a parent is struggling with addiction, mental illness, or simply emotional immaturity. The child steps in, becoming the problem solver, the mediator, the emotional anchor. Second, unrealistic expectations without support. The child is expected to perform tasks they were never taught how to do, and punished, emotionally or otherwise, when they fail. Perfection becomes survival. Mistakes become identity threats. Third, trauma, loss, or instability. A parent's death, divorce, financial crisis, or chronic illness can thrust a child into adult responsibilities overnight. They learn early that the world isn't safe, and the only person they can rely on is themselves. Fourth, cultural or socioeconomic pressures. In some families, especially those facing poverty or immigration challenges, children become translators, caretakers, or financial contributors out of necessity. The intention may not be harmful, but the psychological impact is real. What does it actually look like when someone grew up too fast? Here are the telltale signs. 1. You feel responsible for everyone's emotional state. You walk into a room and immediately scan for tension. If someone's upset, you assume it's your job to fix it, even if it has nothing to do with you. 2. Asking for help feels like weakness. You'd rather burn out than admit you need support. The idea of being vulnerable makes your chest tighten. 3. Resting makes you anxious. You feel guilty when you're not productive. Downtime feels like failure. You apologize for being tired. 4. You're a giver who can't receive. Compliments feel uncomfortable. Gifts feel like debt. You deflect love because you don't know how to hold it. If this video speaks to you, make sure to like and subscribe. There's a lot more we can dive into together. Click the link in the description to explore a gentle, step-by-step process that helps retrain your mind and body towards real, steady confidence. 5. You have high empathy for those who hurt you. You rationalize your parents' neglect or abuse, before you validate your own pain. You make excuses for people who should be apologizing to you. 6. You struggle with identity outside of usefulness. When you're not needed, you feel invisible. Your sense of self is tangled up in what you can do for others, not who you are. 7. You experience emotional flatness or detachment. Because expressing emotion as a child was risky, you learn to numb yourself. Now, even happiness feels dangerous. Here's the part most people miss. Growing up too fast isn't about becoming strong, it's about becoming safe. When a child can't depend on their caregivers, they develop what psychologists call hyper-independence, a trauma response disguised as self-reliance. It's not confidence, it's self-protection. Deep down, the message internalized is this: if I need anyone, I'll be disappointed. If I ask for help, I'll be rejected. If I'm not perfect, I'm not worthy of love. This creates what's known as emotional inhibition, the habit of flattening your feelings to stay invisible, to avoid burdening others, to keep the peace. Anger turns to guilt. Sadness becomes numbness. Joy feels like a setup for pain. And then there's the inner child that never got to rest. That part of you didn't disappear. It's still inside, silently asking, why didn't anyone protect me? Why did I have to be the strong one? This is why healing isn't just about letting go. It's about grieving what you never had and learning for the first time that you're allowed to be soft, messy, and imperfect. But let's be clear, this experience doesn't only create wounds. It also builds real, meaningful strengths. People who grew up too fast often develop exceptional emotional intelligence. You can read a room, sense unspoken tension, and offer comfort in ways others can't. You're incredibly resilient. You've survived situations that would break many people. You know how to adapt, endure, and keep moving forward. You have strong problem-solving skills. You learned early how to think on your feet, manage crises, and take responsibility. And you possess a deep capacity for empathy and care. You know what it's like to feel unseen, so you make sure others feel valued. These aren't small things, they're gifts. The key is learning how to honor them without letting them consume you. That said, untreated parentification carries serious risks. Chronic anxiety and burnout are common. You're always on, always anticipating the next crisis, never fully at ease. Codependency and poor boundaries show up in relationships. You attract people who need fixing, and you confuse caretaking with love. Identity confusion and low self-esteem persist because you never got the chance to explore who you are outside of what you provide. Emotional isolation becomes the norm. You push people away, convinced that closeness equals danger. And, perhaps most painfully, you may unconsciously recreate the same dynamics in your adult life, choosing partners, jobs, or friendships where you're once again over-functioning and under-supported. Healing from growing up too fast starts with one radical act: acknowledging that what happened to you was real, and it wasn't your fault. Practice setting boundaries. Start small. Say no once without explaining yourself. Let someone else carry the emotional weight for once. Reconnect with your inner child. Do something purely for joy. Swing on a playground. Draw with crayons. Watch a movie that made you feel safe as a kid. It might feel silly, but it's deeply healing. Learn to receive. Accept a compliment without deflecting. Let someone help you without feeling indebted. Notice the discomfort and sit with it anyway. Consider therapy. Approaches like internal family systems, EMDR, or trauma-informed CBT can help you process the past and rebuild your sense of self. And most importantly, practice self-compassion. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world as a child, and you don't have to carry it alone now. If you grew up too fast, you didn't lose your childhood. It was taken from you. And that matters. It matters because it shaped you, yes, but it doesn't define you. You are not just the sum of what you survived, you are also the person you're becoming, the one who's learning, slowly, that rest isn't laziness, that vulnerability isn't weakness, and that being loved doesn't require being perfect. You were strong because you had to be. But now you get to choose softness. You get to choose healing, and you get to choose yourself. If this video resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you want more psychology content that goes deep, subscribe. There's so much more to explore together. Click the link in the description to explore a gentle, step-by-step process that helps retrain your mind and body towards real, steady confidence. Thanks for being here. Take care of yourself.